Shaz Nawaz.
Makes it sound good. Thank you, Jan. At least he makes me feel good, so I keep coming back again and again and again. So how much are you buying it for, Bernadette? And use different numbers if you want, by the way. 540. And how big is it?
It's 300 square meters.
Okay. Yep. PD or
300 square meters.
so 300.
It's PD.
PD.
Dinner food.
Okay. And how many units?
6 at the moment.
1 bedroom or 2 bedroom?
1 2-bed. Potential for another 2-bed and 4 1-beds.
So, 1 2 bed,
And the,
4 1 bed.
yeah, and then there's potential to turn 1 bed into a 2-bed.
5 units.
So 5.
So 6 units.
So
So there's 5 1-beds at the moment, but one of them will be a
so let's call it 2 beds. Okay. Okay. Then how much is it going to cost you to convert?
so the build cost is about 400. And that includes development costs also. The fees.
You sure?
Yeah.
That's a good deal, by the way.
Sorry?
That's good. And what's the end value?
The end value based on that, there's bonuses that I haven't included when I put my personal spending.
Bonuses for you or for you?
For me,
Okay.
because there's potential. There's a potential to build a news in
Mhm.
the parking. Just had another conversation with the vendor today.
Yep.
So there's actually some parking spaces by a neighbour that's not being used, so I could buy those.
Yep.
Use those spaces to build the news.
Yep.
There's also a big basement that I found out that I didn't know that I had.
Mhm.
I think it's probably about head height, but I can use it for storage or I can rent that out for storage.
Yeah.
So I haven't included in your plan.
Okay.
The GDV.
So with this here, what's the
The GDV is 1.25.
and how much? Is this you alone, Bernadette, or is it you and somebody else?
Just me.
And how much of your own money have you put in?
I'm intending to put none.
Sorry?
I'm not intending to put any in. I'm just investing finance.
Okay, so you've got people who've loaned money to you. And at the end, do you intend to hold or sell?
Hold.
Okay, so you'll be looking to refinance at 75%. Okay. And so what's 75% of 1.25 million, anybody? On a calculator, by the way, because... Sorry? About 900 grand, yeah, that's right. 937.
937,500.
Okay, 9. Yeah. So you've got your 5, 9. So you'll probably just about get all your money out, less the bonuses, plus the added value. And that's why I like commercial conversions, because Bernadette's going to end up with having. And what's the rent for these 6 units, roughly?
Maybe about 900 for 1 bed.
So 10,800 times 4, isn't it? Let's call it 40 grand. And the 2 beds?
1,200.
1,200. So let's call that 14,000. That's 28 grand. Thereabouts. Let's call it 70,000 pounds. And on your loan over here, what's the interest rate going to be, do you reckon?
Let's say 10%. Let's say by using better finance.
No, once you refinance.
Oh, once I refinance, sorry, what's the
What's the interest rate?
Interest rate, do you reckon?
average is about 4%?
Yeah, I just wanted to burn that together. But yeah. No, I meant in a nice way, by the way. So let's call it 4%. Okay, so it's going to cost you interest 40 grand. Yep. You with me? Other costs, how much? You can have a go this time.
Oh, yeah.
Let's call other costs. Let's call it 15 grand. So Bernadette. No, ongoing costs. insurance, management, all that kind of stuff, okay? 15 grand is a bit generous, we'll call it for 15 grand. So Bernadette's got £5,000 cash flow.
15, right? 40 and 15 is 55. Not
Sorry, forgive me, 55. See, you're all still awake, which is good. So £15,000, it ain't bad, is it? So Bernadette's put no money in, or even if she had put her money in, she gets all the money out. She's got an asset worth just over 1.2 million, capital appreciation, 15 grand cash flow, okay? And if she used any of her own money, she's got those funds back to invest in the next deal, okay? There's no other business in the UK or anywhere in the world that I know, apart from the one that we were talking about with Nick and Kieran, which was Disney, and one or two others, where you can do something like this and have income, an asset, capital growth, with none of your own money. What's not to like? It's good, isn't it? So how do we make it better? So Bernadette, when you bought that property, so I'm moving on to VAT, by the way. When you bought that property, you haven't? Does it have an option to tax, as in you have to pay VAT on the purchase or no?
No, there's no VAT.
Okay, good. So just for everybody else's purposes, if you are buying a commercial property, you may have to pay VAT when you buy it. And the reason for that is because the person who you're buying from, or somebody before them, okay, either bought a commercial property which was less than 3 years old when they bought it, or they wanted to carry out some major works on the property and it was going to cost them quite a bit of money in terms of VAT. So they go to their accountant and say, I've spent £100,000 plus VAT on the building, I want to claim the VAT back, how do I do that? And the accountant says, you have to enter into an option to tax, which means make the property VATable, you get the VAT back, but there's two things you have to do. One is charge VAT on the rent going forward, and the second is when you sell the property, you charge VAT on the disposal. Some commercial property has an option to tax, so you charge VAT, some doesn't, but Bernadette, your one doesn't, so you're fine. That's covered. Now, the 5% rule, do you have a particular question, or was it just to have an understanding of how it works?
how it works.
Okay, so Bernadette, on this particular conversion, are you going to pay 5% VAT or 20% VAT?
Well, there's a form that I have to issue the contract to it,
Yeah.
so I only paid 5%, and Dan said to get the contractor to buy all the materials.
Yeah. Okay, and do you know why you're paying 5%?
Because it's a commercial property.
Okay,
Change of rooms.
nearly.
The amount of units in the building.
Yeah, good. So if you increase the number of units, you pay 5%. If you reduce the number of units, you pay 5%. If you buy a house which has been empty for 2 years or longer, so no one's lived in the property, how do you find out? You speak to the local authority, they have an empty homes officer, you write to them and say, okay, was council tax paid on this property the last 2 years? No, it wasn't, it was empty. Then you pay 5%. Okay? As Bernadette has said, if you buy the materials yourself, you'll pay 20%. If you outsource labor and materials, you only pay 5%. Okay? So it's probably better for you to outsource the whole lot from a cash flow point of view.
Yeah.
Okay?
And the other thing to mention is Kevin Neskis mentioned, because 2 of those units will be SAs,
Yep.
so he said that I need to get the vendor to sign, I've got the name of it, as a form before I actually exchange. And I don't know all the details about it, this is a very quick conversation.
What was the form for?
To see what that means.
Okay, so once that's happened, if Bernadette sells all the units, she gets the VAT back. Okay, because when you sell residential property, there's no VAT on it. We don't charge VAT, so you get the VAT back. If Bernadette keeps the properties, she can't have the VAT back. There is a way around it. We're not going to spend too much time on it. But what happens is you have to grant a lease of longer than 21 years to another entity, could be your own limited company, and you get to claim all the VAT back. So just plant that in your head. Sell the properties, get the VAT back. Keep the properties, no VAT. Why do you think we can't claim back the VAT if we keep the properties?
got to pay what you owe, basically. And then it's just one of those things, and it's just a fact of life. You've got to pay your tax.
Okay, but you got it. There you go. So HMRC only give you VAT back if you're charging VAT on the supply, and they're saying you're not going to charge VAT on residential property, therefore you can't have the VAT back. However, if you do the 21-year lease, longer than 21 years, you get the VAT back. So I've covered that quickly for you, my friend. Any questions on that? You happy with that? Are you glad you came? Because I am. Good man.
So Kevin said that sign a 198 election form.
He's talking about capital allowances, which we'll cover over here.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. Any other questions on VAT or the 5% rule? No?
It's just when you said about because I'm going to hold properties.
Yep.
So you said that I would create a lease for 21 years.
Longer than 21 years.
Longer than 21.
So 21 years and 1 day.
Okay. And the lease is for each unit.
Yeah, so basically, Bernadette, I assume you're buying this through a company?
Yes.
You got company 1 here, which owns the units, yeah. Then you form a second company, Bernadette, over here, which becomes your management company. You grant a lease, longer than 21 years. Yep. And this company should own 75% or more of the shares in this company here, which means you don't pay any stamp duty on the value of the lease. Okay, Bernadette? It's quite complicated. I'm simplifying it, by the way. Yeah? But that's how you do it.
Is that the case even if, so the first entity, that's my SPV,
Yeah.
and that's the same if my holdings company owns 100% of the SPV shares?
That's fine. Yeah. That's fine. But if you got a holding company over here, you can have the management company owned by the holding company directly. You don't have to have 1, 2, 3. You can have one company here, this company here, and this one next to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I'm holding, I'm holding the flats, and I'm going to rent them out myself. So even though I'm going to rent them out myself to...
Can everybody hear Bernadette, by the way? Do we have a microphone, guys, by any chance?
I can speak up also. So I was just asking, because I'm going to hold the 6 units. If I'm going to hold the 6 units, I'm not going to sell off the leases, but I would still create the leases anyway so I could get the VAT back. Is that what you're saying?
You get the VAT back, which is one benefit. The other benefit is, Bernadette, when you apply for a loan and you've got 6 properties on one title, are they worth more or less in terms of value than 6 properties on 6 different titles? Anybody? Yes. Less. Yeah. So what you do here is you can grant a lease for 999 years, do a title split, yeah? Have you got a microphone, guys? Yeah, perfect, thank you. Do a title split, okay? And then, Bernadette, apply for a loan, and let's assume that is based on one title. If that were 6 titles, by the way, and I need some help from the room here, if on 6 properties on one title, they're worth 1.2 million, how much do you think they might be worth with 6 titles? Just a guess.
10% uplift.
Sorry?
10% uplift.
Can't hear you, sorry.
10% uplift.
10% uplift.
Sorry, 10% uplift, sorry, okay. 10%, possibly, yeah, 10-15%, yeah? So that 10-15% gives you an extra £180,000 times 75%. You're going to get another 120 grand back. You've got all your money back plus £120,000. So on the uplift, 75% of the uplift in cash is yours in your back pocket. So now not only have you got 6 properties that are rental income, the 15 grand profit, but you've got 150 grand in your back pocket too. That's not bad, is it? And that's why I like commercial conversions. Happy with that?
Very happy with that.
Good. You're just going to go out and do it now, which is the easy bit, by the way. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, by the way, make sure you click like, subscribe and post a comment because that tells me that you're engaging and you're finding the content useful. And if you like this video, make sure you check out this video here because it's the next stage in terms of your learning and development.